Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
If you've been hurt in a road accident that wasn't your fault, you should really talk to G4 Claims first. Unlike road accident solicitors, we don't charge you for our services, which could see you better off. To keep 100% of your compensation, have a chat with Nicole and the team. You'll be glad you did. Search online for G4 Claims.
Keep 100% of your claim. G4 Claims.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Talk Scottish Football. It's been a while, boys. We're back, and we're back with this 5-person spectacular to kickstart season 3 of TSF. No more David Buick. He's gone.
That sounds like we voted him out, man.
Rest in peace. Now, David has, of course, got his new life up in the Highlands, so he'll be to and fro between podcasts. He'll be here sometimes, and he'll be here, when he's down the road. But we don't know. We'll get his predictions at some point. But boys, we're all here, and it was a bit of a weird one last season. We were on and off. I think we missed the entirety of the Europa League run for Rangers. Basically, we missed the final.
The only two Rangers fans were there, so
I know. To be fair, at least you went to the. That's a good excuse. Listen, you are young. You're allowed to enjoy yourselves. And
thanks, Dad.
I'm glad you got beat. But we've kept it in spirits today in case there's any fighting. We've separated us. We've got one side of the table being the good guys and one side of the table being
Ryan and
the rest. I'll start with Kieran because you're to my left hand side and you're representing, obviously. I mean, we've not done very well with the colours, have we?
No, they seem to have turned up and they've meant business with their side of the table, but
Stone's corner.
no, it's good to be back, to be fair. It's good to keep it separate, you know.
Because we've done a lot of the Celtic, the Thunder, which has been good.
He's into it, so I feel like this is justified.
Aye.
Like,
Episode 1 in the new season.
I don't like Ease again yet.
I can't wait till the thumbnail is used to reaching the table for each other 40 minutes. But yeah, Kieran, we've obviously done a lot of the Celtic Thunder, so it'll be different to have some opposition to oppose our thoughts.
Mm-hmm. We can't just sit and be an echo chamber anyway.
How's that going?
Is it going alright?
Slower this summer, to be fair.
It's not a lot to talk about.
I've got to say as well, Ryan has instructed me if I want to make a point, and it's a serious point, that I put the microphone to my dial like such.
Yes.
I've not got a serious point right now, but just in case.
This is an example of what a serious point will look like.
Most of the time,
just so
I
you're not
don't
caught
make
off
serious points,
guard.
but anyway, just in case that does happen, that's
to be
why.
Freaks you out.
To be perfectly clear with the audience, this was a 4-man show originally, but then Jack stepped up to the plate. It's like, we'll make it a 5-man show. So,
And he's still got a fucking mic and we're sharing it. That's what happened. I want to be closer to you anyway.
but we've got a 5-man show. We couldn't knock that opportunity back. So, Div, on that note, it's nice to see you, mate. You had a good summer. You feeling recharged? You feeling ready for a brand new season?
I'll just be honest, during the summer I just totally turned off. I've not been really keeping up with a lot. I just wrote my league predictions about 5 minutes ago. So they'll probably actually be better than last year's, where I turned up with like 3 pages of notes.
Yep.
And I was getting into specifics, but we're here. Do I feel recharged? No, really.
No.
Just about killed myself in the gym there.
Nice.
Nearly gave myself a brain aneurysm.
Oh, good.
Trying to run in this heat. What was the question?
I think you've answered
A lot has
all the
happened, to be
questions.
fair. Like, you touched on the fact that we missed so much stuff.
Aye.
I thought we were so consistent up until Christmas, and it just all went downhill
Aye.
after the Christmas show.
Really?
Yeah.
That was a real example of where the podcast was going, that Christmas show.
Exactly, but a lot of cool shit happened after that. Like, obviously Rangers Europa League run, you guys winning the league, Hearts getting Europe, getting pumped in the Scottish Cup. We missed a lot, but we're back now. Hopefully we can be more consistent.
Lovely. And I mean, you talked about not having any notes. We do lack professionalism on this podcast. We always have. But there's one man who does bring a sense of professionalism to the show, and that is Adam Kennedy.
See, Jack.
Oh, sorry. That is Adam Kennedy. Adam, I'm banking on you to have turned up here with some logic behind what you're saying. Can you confirm that's going to happen?
No, that sums up the state that TSF's in. That really does. We are snooker boys.
No,
here
to be
for the
fair,
show.
people don't come here to hear proper analytical insight. They come here to listen to
Shite.
Sometimes 3, sometimes 5. Talk absolute mince for a good hour and 5 minutes.
and would they ever change that? No, probably not. It's an exciting time. We're going to come on to Hearts in Europe, and we're going to come on to the other teams in Europe, but it's an exciting season for Hearts, of course, defying all expectations last year to actually make European football. You must be sort of excited.
It's not really sunk in though. I think once we see that draw, then
it'll
we
sink
know
in.
exactly where we're off to. Yeah,
Aye.
but at the minute it is really odd. I think my expectations might surprise a couple of folk because I think it's going to be a tougher campaign than most folk think. But yeah, that's what this podcast's all about. So we're not going to give that away too early, are we, Div?
No.
It's what we're all about.
Just need to fucking get down.
Second that.
Steady. And finally, the last person to introduce is Jack.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
You look very holiday mode, like you're just chill, you're just zen. That's all. Every time you come here, you bring a sense of chill. I still look back at, I don't know if you, I think it might have been you that was on it, and you were just sitting there with a mic in your hand the entire time, like instead of sitting at the table, you're just sitting there grasping it.
Like a boss.
It'd be ideal if we had another one of the mics just now, because we could have 5 mics, but here we are.
I'll make a serious point. I'll do that.
Just fuck that other mic on.
Anybody that wants to make a
that's the
serious point,
serious
this
mic.
is the fucking mic.
I just got that on my shoulder.
That's
so
fine.
if that made a noise, I apologise.
Spotify listeners, you're in for a bumpy ride, is what I'll say. And for a very, very bumpy ride. Right, this is a big show, and we want to try and wrap it up. And Div made the joke, or Adam made the joke, or
Kieran made the joke.
Kieran made the joke that we have an hour and 5 minutes. We really do. If you want to see those 3 over there, you've only got an hour and 5 minutes of them. So we've probably got to get through today's show.
So it won't be that fast.
That's all you need.
We've probably got to get through today's show at a relatively decent speed because of that. So where do you want to start then? I'll open the floor. I know I'm meant to be hosting and I'm meant to be the one that dictates where we go, but there is so much to talk about. It's a new season, it's a new landscape in Scottish football. Celtic are looking to retain their title. There's so much to talk about. Kieran, you made up a wee plan today of things we could talk about. So tell us, where would you like to start?
I love how the host just turns to me to then say, go through a different running order. But I mean, I'd probably start off with the
You
news.
like the fucking Tory party, ain't you?
Oh, whoa,
oh, come on.
Whoa, now.
Come on.
One lead up past the bucket. Can you take the lead?
I mean, I suppose you could obviously start off with the title race going into this season, because I mean, last season I feel like even myself, I don't think I was expecting Celtic to go and win the league last year, the way things panned out. Obviously I was very happy about it and I was happy to eat my words, but at the start of last season I didn't think that we were going to go into win the league. I thought in a rebuild season it would have took a lot longer than that, but now we find ourselves into Angie's second season, and how do you build on something like that to try and keep yourselves ahead of your rivals whilst also try to strengthen? And I don't know, I think it's just interesting. I'd like to see what you're used to in particular perspective is on how you think it's going to go this year.
I think it was very important for Celtic to go out and get Carter Vickers, get Jota on a permanent, and obviously they've went and done that. So as you say, they can kind of build on that. They've added a couple of other players. Don't ask me their names. No, I think Barnaby, is that one?
Bernabe.
Barnaby, almost.
You've done the
Celtic
daft
thing.
thing. You know,
Morelos.
Wee Bernabe.
Aye, we Bernaby, whatever you want to call him. So I think it was important for you guys to obviously go out and do that. Just to touch on what he says, obviously from last season, I was the same. Like obviously, I thought Rangers were going to retain a title. They had such a superior squad at some point, even maybe in the first week or two. Celtic looked like they were at 6s and 7s, but the signings that they brought in were just perfect almost. Like there was like so.
I feel like it was really well planned out last season, because
good, let's put it that way.
in previous seasons you've looked at Celtic's dealings on transfer deadline day in the summer and it just seems like you get in anybody. But I mean, last season you had Jota, Carter Vickers and Yakimakis came in on deadline day, and that's, when you look back on it, it was an absolute masterstroke. But when you look at that in previous seasons, it just looks like panic loan signings and that, but it worked out so well. And then we done really well in January to get in Ideguchi, Hatate, Maeda and O'Reilly. So as you said, I think it was a perfect bit of business. But I think with the title race this year, it will be about how you use recruiting after losing people like Bassey and Aribo. I think that's something going to do.
It's a big summer, yeah. So I was going to bring it, of course, it's dictated mostly about, no offence, Adam, but Celtic and Rangers are the big talking points, aren't they? We are going to talk about the rest, just to clarify for the fans of our clubs, but it is a big season for both sides. Celtic have obviously got the expectation now to carry on the we never stop attitude of Postecoglou's team, which won the league, but Rangers are now in a situation where Bassey's gone, Joe Aribo's gone, there's big names that have left the club, there's shoes to fill. Div, so far with the summer business over at Ibrox, what you thinking? How do you feel you are preparing in order to try and reclaim the league title that you lost last year?
Well, I think everybody was panicking at a certain stage. Jack probably backed me up on that. Like on Twitter and all that, everybody was going off on that. Like, where are the signings here? And at that point, I was thinking to myself, like, I'll get 2 weeks. I don't want to like jump in straight away. Pre-season, I think, had just started. Well, like the first day into pre-season, and since then, I think Rangers have made 5 new additions. And so, yeah, they're going out there. They're getting players. We finally have a right winger. And when it looks at it as well, these players are going to make a difference in the squad. It looks like Davies is coming in for Liverpool to replace Bassey in his position. I don't know a lot about Davies, but obviously I know he was at Liverpool and he was on loan at Sheffield United last year. If we're going out and spending $4 million on him, which has been reported, then I think he probably comes in and starts.
Yep.
Also, Keaton Goldson was absolutely huge for Rangers. Didn't see that coming, if I'm honest. I kind of bought into the rumours that he was leaving. His body language kind of appeared that way as well, and he signed a new contract, so that was huge.
Was it after the final they announced he was staying?
Yeah, it was like
after,
it was way after like the
I remember
Europa
watching
and
I remember watching the Scottish Cup final and the way that he was like walking around the park. I was like, oh, he's off.
Oh, he literally stood right in front of me where I was sitting, like he was handing his hips, kind of just taking it on. I remember turning me like he's away, like that's him. Like,
I mean, you would have thought McGregor was away as well, getting subbed on in the final.
It looks stupid now that
So, what's the feeling about McGregor and all that then? On this side, I don't have a clue really what the situation is. Do you think McGregor's spot is still his, or is McLaughlin going to come in now?
I would prefer McLaughlin, but in my eyes, I still think McGregor's going to be playing number one. I don't think he signs a new contract unless he's playing number one. In my opinion, I don't think he's signing a new contract sitting on the bench. So
is the talk not they'd move into a coaching role though?
I think that was the talk before he signed the contract. So I don't know what the script is, but to me it sounds like he's here to play another season. So I don't see him signing that unless he's getting told you'll be.
How do you feel about that bit? Because I mean, obviously last season he came under fire a wee bit for like certain moments where he's cost you points, and that just sort of errors creeping into his game in that sense. But like, do you think he will start this season? Would you be happy if he was to be the number one goalkeeper?
Well, I would be still, obviously. I thought the time was probably right for him to call it a day, but who am I to tell him to hang up his gloves?
Yep.
So if he feels like he can do another season, then I'm going to be fully behind him if he's number one, or if McLaughlin plays more games or whatever. He's 40 now, or he's touching 40. He's still a little bit. It's 39, 40, 41, whatever. I know he made a few mistakes last season, cost his points and such. It's because of the levels that you see Al McGregor. You used to like McGregor making like one big error a season in the league. He made 3 or 4 last year, and everybody was like, "Well," but then his performances in Europe were absolutely outstanding, and we ended up in the Europa League final. So it's like, we'll just need to wait and see. We went for the season before when Rangers were obviously invincible. He was outstanding. The season after, his levels fell a wee bit, so we'll see. He's like a fine wine, though, I would say.
There's a touch of what Celtic had last season and this year with Rangers. This is the first full year with Van Bronckhorst. It's the first year that he's had a full-on summer window to do his thing, and there's obviously major renovations going on. Maybe not as big as what Celtic had last year. We had a proper full team.
It felt like a full clear out.
Whereas Rangers is, not as many, but there's still a big change coming. So there's a touch of that there, the unexpected, and it could take everybody by surprise. But it's going to be a tough challenge for both sides. I think both Celtic and Rangers to maintain the levels of, Rangers went to a Europa League final, Celtic won the league. Both teams had a very successful season in 2 different paths. Kennedy, I'm going to come to you because you're the outsider. How do you look at it from your point of view right now? Who do you think's on top at this moment in time from the summer business and from the moods in both camps? Do you think there's a clear standout at the moment, or do you see it just taking its time?
I think it was essential that Celtic
give him the mic. Give him the mic.
Take the mic, bro.
No. I can't. I'll leave it there.
Is that alright there?
Yeah, I think so. Celtic obviously had to make those loanees permanent. Thanks very much, mate.
Nearly took his nose off.
Just grab it.
In terms of Rangers, I just feel as though the initial fee for Joe Rebo's slightly underwhelming. I know that there's the talk of the add-ons to take that up to 10. Great fee for Calvin Bassey as well, you'd have to say. But I think Europe's probably going to be the deciding factor. Obviously, Celtic being in the Champions League, with Angie's style of play, be interesting to see whether they can take those from midweek matches onto the domestic scene, and that's probably what hindered Rangers in last season's title race. Obviously, with the Europa run, as we've all alluded to. You know, it did seem like Rangers were stuttering through some domestic matches at the weekend and dropping the odd couple of points. So it'll be interesting to see, firstly, if they get to the Champions League, to have them both there, and then what the repercussions are of that.
Yeah, and of course Rangers today, they were in the draw for the Champions. There's still an opportunity for Rangers to make the Champions League. The qualifying was made, draw was made today. Celtic don't have that this year, Kieran.
I know. I mean, it's a nice feeling, but see, also sitting about until the end of August before you actually know anything. Like, I just want to find out the group already, man.
Aye.
My heart bleeds for you.
Imagine being the Champions League group. So Rangers drew Union Saint-Gilloise. Is that how you say it?
Probably no, but I mean, if you're going
Is it
There'll be one guy that's a
Saint-Gilloise?
fan of them in the comments. You bastard.
There's always one.
Respect my club, but they will take on them in their Champions League qualifying third qualifying round match. Don't know anything about the opposition. Do any used to have?
I'm pretty sure they're
insight?
owned by Brighton.
Brighton,
Like Brighton's owners
They
own them.
literally came up like last season,
And
and
they
then
done
mad
and then
title
they
charge.
finished top, and then they have a similar kind of vibe. It's not a split, but it's like a group, and at the top.
I mean,
Give me a minute.
I'm pretty sure somebody said, I don't know if I've not checked it myself, but I'm pretty sure one of your pals said that their star striker for last year was on loan for Brighton, obviously because it's like the parent club of that sort of thing. So
He's went back, isn't he?
So he's went back, so that will suit Rangers that
Oh, is
they've
that
lost their talisman.
Unak or something?
I don't know.
It's something like that. Him. I can't.
I'm happy with the draw because I just wanted to avoid Monaco.
Yeah, you've avoided the big
Was
dogs.
it Monaco PSV? Was that the draw?
And
No, it was
PSV one of
Monaco,
there.
Sturm Graz,
Some grass.
Union.
I never told me Monaco
there was another.
PSV, you're a liar.
You could have got Midtjylland or
Michelin, that
Larnaca.
was the final one.
They were
So
putting
I'm
Larnaca.
quite happy in getting this mob. Obviously, don't know a lot about them, so not going to disrespect them. Obviously, they won the league, but then they go into that, as Jack said, championship thing, and then
I don't think they won the league.
I think
They finished
They
top.
finished
Oh,
top.
wait, actually,
They've
it's
also-
mad.
what happens
It's
is
weird
they
there,
do point
aye.
system, they play all their games. I think they play 33 games or whatever. They finish top on points, and then it gets divided.
I think
where,
it gets
like,
halved or
It
something.
gets
isn't it?
halved. That's
Aye.
what happens. It gets halved, and then they each
There was
play
me
each other
thinking Scotland
once.
was a sham.
I know.
Aye. No, but it was because Club Brugge were winning the league every single year. A wee bit like
Literally
what's-
1
what's
year
happening-
and they were
what's
finished
happening
third
in the
there,
Bundesliga. So it was to kind of make it a bit fairer, and obviously Club Brugge still fucking win the league when they still win the league, so it never really worked out, did it? But
Big Jack
we'll just
Hendry.
need to wait and see. But confident.
You all doubted Jack Hendry, but who's laughing now? Shite.
We doubted Jack
We
Hendry.
doubted Jack Hendry. I sincerely doubted them. So I think that's basically it covered for Celtic Rangers, because we're about 17 minutes in to the show, and we'll save our predictions for who will win the league till later on, because there's so much yet to talk about, and we're going to save the league table predictions till the end of the show. But one of the talking points that Kieran brought up that I think is important to cover right now is the exports from our country at this moment in time, because a few boys are finding life overseas.
Getting a suntan.
Getting a suntan, indeed. I mean, we've seen the success of Aaron Hickey. Aaron Hickey, of course, got that move to Bologna a few years ago. He's now, where is it? He's off to
Brentford.
Brentford, that's it. Brentford
Moneyball.
in the Premier League. And there's people following in the footsteps. So
I mean, if you want to go back to Brigham, Liam Henderson was the one paving the way.
that's true. He did.
Might not have been playing at a higher level as Bologna, but I mean, who's he's playing for now? It's
Still in
like
Serie A now.
because he went to a Serie B
Serie
team.
B, what-
Yeah, it's like
Aye.
Empoli, I think it is. Aye,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I mean, then you've got Lewis Ferguson and Josh Doig that have followed suit. But I mean,
We'll get on to those two in a second. I'm going to let Kennedy grab that mic because, of course, you're the Hearts fan. You were the
Aye,
one that
Hickey.
you're the one that watched Hickey go over there and do as well as he has. Do you think Hickey has set a bar now and he's kind of broke? I know we spoke on Henderson doing it, but do you think Hickey's now sort of broke a mould for other youngsters in Scotland to go and do these things? You've seen Hickey week in, week out.
Yeah, you'd certainly say so, and his progress is there for all to see. I think the kind of stereotype around Italian football would be that defensively he wasn't all there. So as a young defender, he's obviously had to work on that side of his game. I think he always showed that he was competent on both feet. I think he actually started out as a midfield player and then was put back as a full-back in the academy. Has come on leaps and bounds at Bologna, and I think even making that decision, it was an old head on young shoulders, because there was talk of like Bayern Munich, some other supposed super clubs, circling for him. But chose the right path evidently, because now he's playing in the Prem. Should probably get his game at Brentford, and hopefully he can continue to kick on, because we're all looking at it from a Scotland perspective as well, aren't we?
I mean, if you look at it the way back, 'cause I mean, see, you've got this sort of mentality in Scotland where like Celtic and Rangers sort of snap up the, I don't, if it sounds disrespectful to say the best of the rest sort of thing, like, oh, they're like the best players for in the league. But I mean,
when we were wee, that was the case.
because I mean, you look at the way when Celtic and that have signed players, it's not always been a success. So these young players, they're not thinking anymore that Celtic and Rangers is the only path now. They can see him going to Italy and actually getting a game, whereas I mean, we were getting linked to Aaron Hickey that summer he went to Bologna, and his career could have been very different if he had signed for Celtic. I'm not saying we would have ruined his career, but I mean, it certainly could have went a completely wrong direction.
Josh Doig's exactly the same. Released by Hearts, goes on to play for Hibs, has that loan spell at Queen's Park. You know, sometimes these decisions even themselves out later on, and it could potentially be the best thing. I mean, Andy Robertson's the prime example as well. So
I feel like that's the most overused one. And at times I've seen the story about Queen's Park.
That's why I went to Josh Doig on a lesser level, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, it took me by surprise. I never expected Doig nor Ferguson to kind of pursue those
I
moves.
wasn't expecting
They're both players who were linked with either side of the derby for so long. You know, Ferguson was always linked with a move to Rangers. Doig, that couple of years ago, was always linked with a move to Celtic.
After the COVID season, I think that was pretty much.
I think that I never expected to see them take over that move, and we've got to speak respectively as well. And Aberdeen have brought in £3 million, which is a really good fee. I would say for the situation that they found them, like how long it's kind of dragged on with Ferguson. And Hibs, how much did they bring in for?
Is
it about?
Yeah,
I'm trying to look. I've got all the transfers up in front of me, but
I think they've done well.
3 million,
Yeah,
3 million, and I don't think Doig had as great a season last year as well. So to get 3 million, I think both teams have done very well.
I feel like you might have thought his chance had gone by, but because obviously when your stock's really high, like, and you actually stick it out of the club, then it could have went completely the wrong direction.
I mean, that was the case with Lewis Ferguson, wasn't it? I think now it's like the perfect time.
I felt like it was dragging on quite a bit with Lewis Ferguson. He's been speculated about so much over the past few years.
Yeah, I think Aberdeen done him dirty though last year, didn't they? That Watford were about to come in and give him the big bucks and whatever, take him to them, and then Aberdeen never paid his wages up, just never let him go. It's like,
I mean, it'll be interesting to see them actually go abroad, but
I think they'll do well, especially Ferguson, because even just to go back to what we were talking about there, it would have been a big blow to him not to get his move to the Premier League last season. Not to, I know, hate bringing money into it, but it could change your life getting a move like that. So by no getting that, he could have easily just had the head down and no perform, but he had a good season last season. And a struggling Aberdeen side stuck it out exactly, and he's been a good player now for a number of years. He kind of broke into the scene early and he's maintained that, and he's always get better. And so I think he'll go over there and I think he'll fit in. It's a physical game out there, and I think he'll do really well. Interested to see how Doig will do. As you said, like, had a brilliant first season, second season, he didn't really kick on, but great move for him as well.
I mean, who is it you went to? Hellas Verona?
Hellas Verona.
Are they Serie A still?
I think so.
Aye. I mean, that's a good move, man. But
That is a good move.
And Hibs acted swiftly with bringing that Croatian fella in
aye.
free transfer, I think.
Yeah.
If he didn't know Zagreb. I can't mind his name, but I know who you're talking
I've got
about.
a lot of business to run through, in fact, when it comes to transfers. So we'll try and get on to that. Because there's a lot of good business, a lot of bad business in the league. But I think that those moves for the Scottish boys to Italian clubs are big. Where does we go next?
I was looking at Mr. Kennedy here, and I want to talk about Hearts' chances next season. I mean, obviously they're going to be in at least the Conference League group stages, but I think it's going to be hard for Hearts. I mean, first time in the group stages to actually maintain the level they kept last year, to be the best. Obviously, it's finished third place, but to be so far ahead of the rest of the league. So, do you think you'll be able to maintain that whilst also playing Thursday, Sunday for a good 2 months?
We've still got a couple of bodies springing, that's for sure. The talk's Shankland at the minute.
I've seen that.
And that's a move that I've been behind for a wee while. But again, need another centre forward. I can't see Ellis Sims making that stay again, which is heartbreaking.
You're heartbroken about that, aye?
A wee bit sad.
A wee bit.
Yeah.
What's the script with him then?
He was on Everton's pre-season tour in the States, I think.
So,
I don't know.
It doesn't really mean that it's...
Yeah.
Is it just being reported that it's like dead in the water of it? Or?
It seems like there was championship clubs. I think Millwall or somebody was linked, and surely it's a no-brainer if Hearts get into European competition to play over Millwall. I don't want the Millwall casuals coming from this.
this podcast is finished.
Next time you're doing now, get that doing.
Yeah, a couple bodies would be preferable. Obviously, John Suter will be a massive blow for us.
Absolutely.
He is. Jack, what, are you looking forward to Big John Suter?
I'm very looking forward to Big John Suter. I think he's a unit, man. I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, who do you think will be the starting? I know we've just came back to Rangers here. We're trying to talk about other things, but just interestingly, very quickly, who do you think will be the starting centre half partnership?
Bolton and Suter.
You know, I think Big Davies if he comes in.
I'm hearing he can play left back.
That's what I think. He's maybe going to be pushed to left.
Okay.
Not too sure.
Interesting.
Not too sure.
Interesting.
Similar to Bassett.
I'm going to send Ange these
Gonna
notes.
kill me seeing Suter in that blue, man. Jesus.
Well, that's what the whole reported thing is he's to come in to replace Bassey, so I would assume he's going to be put in the left, but we could still bring somebody else in, you never know.
Yeah, there could be a bit of people coming in. So Kieran, what was it you started?
No, it was a bit Hearts, because obviously I know you're saying bringing a few more bodies, but I don't think bringing quantity over actual quality players is going to. I mean, you need to have the squad there, but I mean, obviously with a budget that Hearts is on, I mean, obviously it'll be helped by being in Europe and that this year, but the money's not exactly mental in the Conference League. So
what I will say is I think Alan Forrest was a good signing on a free, because I think
that's decent
I think he'll
business.
be much bigger for Hearts than
You'll
most,
have such a
most of
much
our fans
bigger
think.
pool than you had before as well, because you've
100%.
got that. Whereas if you look at last season, obviously he's done really well, but there would have been nobody going, why I got him playing Edinburgh for a season for no reason.
It's massive.
It's funny you say that, because I mean I was listening to two journalists talk, and one of whom, Barry Anderson's been covering Hearts for the best part of 20 years, and he says that Hearts are probably in the best place that they've ever been in terms of him covering them. With obviously having just finished third, got guaranteed European football and what
It was the distance as well for the rest of the league. It's always been us two and then the rest, and it was literally us two, then you and then the rest.
a league of our own, weren't we?
I feel like it's got to be different this year, because I feel like a lot of clubs within the league last year were far for their best. I mean, you look at Aberdeen and Hibs and that have consistently been up the top end of the league to both be, for lack of a better word, mince last year. Like, surely God, they've got to improve. You look at some of the signings they've made, but I mean, Aidan McGeady to Hibs. I mean, it's
That's
right.
a mad
It's one of the ones where it could go well or it could go absolutely a pure disaster. I know what one Kennedy's hoping for, to be fair, but I mean, if I take it you've seen that penalty the other day in the League Cup. Christ, can I put it much further wide, man?
Did you see the comments there? And that? He goes, I mean, you have to say it's a bad penalty.
But I mean, who have Aberdeen actually brought in? Because I was trying to go through.
So Aberdeen
They
is.
still Ramsey as well.
Aberdeen have made a couple. They've signed that. Oh, it's a cracking kit. It's a cracking kit. I rated it number one on the kit rankings. Yeah. They brought in Liam Scales from Celtic, of course. They brought in Anthony Stewart from Wickham, Bojan Miovski from Budapest, Kelly Roos from
They signed
Derby.
2 players for that team, I think.
Yeah, because they signed Ilba Ramadani. And
That rolls off the tongue.
and finally they signed Jayden Richardson from Nottingham Forest.
See, I mean, with the money they've brought in, it's not exactly the business.
Considine's away.
He's with St Johnson, isn't he?
What a signing!
I mean, I don't know if it's a business that's going to turn around their season, but I think are they not wanting to get the stadium and all that like, on the go, like the new stadium?
I know.
Training ground as well.
Yeah, well, that was the top pre-COVID hitting.
Because I mean, I've been seeing more concepts in that. I mean, I don't know if they're in a position that they want to start putting money into a stadium now after the disaster of last year. I think they need to actually build themselves back up
But
a wee
when they
bit.
find themselves on such a consistent footing under McInnes, it all went to pot. But yeah, I don't know. Aberdeen's approach seems a funny one to me. But I still feel like they're more likely to get it right than Hibs because of Jim Goodwin.
Jim Goodwin's a decent coach,
Yeah,
to be
I
fair. I
think
mean,
he's a
who is it Hibs have brought in again? Is it Lee Johnson?
Lee Johnson. That was a surprise when I thought they were up there for John Dahl Thomason.
Roy Keane.
Roy Keane, aye. Roy Keane could have been
That would have been blockbuster.
I think that would have been good for the league.
Just for the interviews, man.
What?
Imagine you took Roy Keane.
Let's not go back down that path.
Roy
happy
Keane
now.
on that Tynecastle touchline.
He would get pelters. He'd get absolute pelters.
Thinking.
He'd end up doing a canton, I reckon, like karate kicking a fan in the crowd or something like that.
Probably me.
We're kind of transitioning into a good bit of the show where we're going to talk about other teams' business and that, but before we'll do one last bit and then we'll head into our league table predictions, so we can just kind of go through every team, talk about their business, talk about other things, because there's only one more thing I think to talk about really before we start answering the questions from the audience, and that is the rest of the European draw today. I think
was a shocker
we
for
can.
them.
It's not good for Dundee United and Motherwell, is it?
Absolutely not.
Not at all.
But there's two ways to look at it, because like Kieran says, surely then they improve on a domestic front if they're knocked out early, you'd hope.
But if
there's no guarantee, I
you're a Hearts fan, you're guaranteed European football this season. You don't need to worry
It's
about
easy
that.
for me to say that.
It's easy for you. If you were in the position of a Motherwell or a Dundee United fan right now, I think you'd be gutted. I would.
If I was a Motherwell fan, I'd be wanting Prague. That's for sure. Because that'd be some away days.
That's a piss up that. But like,
But
you must.
I get what you're meaning.
And in that situation, like, it's not very often these opportunities come around for the likes of a Motherwell or a Dundee United. So you kind of want to get them while you can, and by getting the hardest team straight away, Div, it's not nice.
No, it doesn't help for a footballing point of view, but I
Take
would
the mic.
I would get the mindset some Motherwell fans being absolutely buzzing with the prospect of Prague, but first they need to get past is it Sligo Rovers?
Sligo Rovers.
And we all remember what happened to Kelly when he
was gonna
played
say that.
Conus Key. So I don't want to jinx.
Ask the Welsh team, did they not play Ballatown?
Probably.
Sligo beat Ballatown just there, aye.
I don't want to bring up that, but
That video, man, he's like, I've already booked Belgrade, man.
remember they had the t-shirts and all that, mate. So I'm not want to get ahead of myself here and envisage the Motherwell faithful heading to Prague, but I did get the mindset of thinking we probably would get put out anyway, so fuck it, we may as well get an away day to Prague.
Aye.
No,
I feel I know what happens in Prague.
stays in
Some
Prague.
great museums in it.
Anybody, I feel like have you been to Prague?
I literally was meant to be going to Prague for a stag do.
No, fuck it. A stag do, exactly. Museums.
Museums.
All those sex museums. I've just made it
The way
nice.
so crash.
I love the way they looked at me when he said that. That was like creepy.
Might go for a trip. Where did we go recently? We went to Krakow. That was nice.
That the first time in
Museums.
Poland?
Aye, first time.
First time.
Very cheap.
Very cheap. Very
Was it a
nice.
good time?
Oh, it was good.
The other
Good.
time that I was in Poland, I went to Auschwitz.
That's just near.
Aye, nah,
That's near. I
We
think.
could, we
isn't it?
could have went, but it didn't feel like the sort of weekend
I
that was
know.
appropriate to
I
go
know.
to Auschwitz.
Three boys on the piss visiting
It's
Auschwitz,
extremely
probably.
powerful, but it's a wee bit.
We have been to a concentration camp, us two. We went to Sachsenhausen, that was in Berlin.
Alright.
Christ, this is taking a morbid turn.
I know, right, let's get away from that.
Let's get away from that. Just for a wee brief moment, to bring our
Scottish
to
football.
bring our personalities back into it.
Don't Scottish holiday.
What's everybody been up to during the summer anyway? Anybody
I played
interesting?
at Ibrox.
So you did, aye. Did you enjoy
So I
that?
was in. No, really. I was.
Oh, no, you didn't
a
enjoy
fat
it.
mess. Still on, but working on it now. But so obviously I was in Seville with Jackie Boy on it about 12 hours before, and the kickoff was at 6. I got back to Glasgow at 5, so I didn't get to Ibrox till
my
like
God,
5:45. And then went in and fucking Chris MD, Phil Baker, all these guys were
Knobs.
playing. They were actually sound. They were actually really nice guys, but they're all fit as fuck and play all the time.
Aye.
So I only came on the second half and it was just a disaster.
I seen the
to be
team
honest.
40 and it was just great seeing everybody in the Rangers tops. They'd all had a long summer, you could say that.
Absolutely.
Everybody had
Aye.
that long summer by that point.
But
I wouldn't
that
look
was
much
crazy.
better.
That was crazy. Wee Gogsy, he get elbowed a belter off that Jamel 1-5 guy.
Oh, no.
And he is an animal. So basically, I know all that they did, right? They basically played one at the back and it was him, and he was just sweeping everything up, and the rest of them were all doing what they had to do. I think the final score was 4-0, but it was still good to play
Yeah,
at
to play
Ibrox and stuff like that. I was hanging out my arse, but hopefully the
That
next
must-
time that opportunity arises, I'm gonna be
That must
fit.
have hurt
And
Gogsy,
I'm gonna take the
man.
opportunity. And the wee man was on the pitch, I know, and he was
You're not
loving
the
it.
only
So,
one that was on Ibrox pitch.
aye, that was good.
I seen Harry Styles at Ibrox.
Was that you that fell for the top
Aye,
two?
was that you that fell for contact,
I was
guy?
on the pitch,
Can
mate.
we
don't
hold-
worry.
can we- everybody for a wee second here, by the way, because I think my mic's turned. There we go. My mic, I think, turned off for a second there, but it's back.
Oh, thank
Was
God.
that you that? I know everybody's fucking gutted now. It's back on. Was that you that fell for the
It was
top
not
two?
me, Phil. I was on
No.
the pitch, so I you know what's funny. My mum knew I was on the pitch, like standing, and she texted me.
Was that you? Jack, I would
Did you
not.
hear what happened? Are you alright?
I would not put it past you to fell from the top tier
Oh
of the
mate,
Ibrox
see
Cup
that,
deck.
it pisses me off a wee bit, right? Because you'll know yourself how much you go after that, especially like the Leipzig game. That has never happened in the history of that stone.
I know.
And
He must have coined it.
No, so apparently he got knocked back for drink like 2 p.m. that day.
Oh,
so he was obviously he was
Robert.
nut.
Aye, it was obviously away with the ferries. Come on.
There you go. Apparently, it took that long for a stroll or anybody to get to him. He was sitting up when they found him.
It's crazy how they never got injured in it. But anyway, do you want to get back to the football?
Where did we even leave off? I mean, we spoke about Motherwell, then who did Dundee United get?
Everybody's summer was, to be
Good.
fair. Good.
PSV?
No, AZ Alkmaar.
AZ Alkmaar, same
That's
thing,
it.
innit? Do you not think they just sound dead similar, PSV and AZ Alkmaar?
I mean,
Is it
I
just
don't-
me?
Maybe those sound similar.
They always get mixed up.
The initials just
Something like that. The colours maybe they would know well.
Aye, the red and white.
Do you know what I
Aye.
mean? So,
Do you know who supports PSV?
Giovanni.
No, well, he might. I don't know, but
He's fine.
he's Feyenoord, you clown. Do you not know who supports
Robin Van
PSV?
Persie.
No, he's Feyenoord as well.
Oh fuck! Why is
He's a
everybody
famous,
firing
a famous celebrity PSV Eindhoven fan.
Rod Stewart.
Come on, somebody has to get it. Super Max, come on, Super Max for
That's
start.
just the TSF one, mate.
He's a PSV man. Funnily enough, I've actually got a PSV top, but it's orange, so I don't really wear it.
He's actually launched a TSF1
F1,
thing, didn't he?
that's a new thing, TSF.
David right in it.
Oh, David's
Is he
lovely.
learning to drive yet though? Can he do a 3-point turn?
No, he can't do fuck
Can he do a
all.
3-point turn? But he's talking about it.
See, to be fair, there's drivers that can't fucking...
He's sitting in his room, he's practicing with a plate, man.
I should have did our tests up there. How well can you steal a plate? Right, we're going to end up offending folk for the Highlands if we keep going. Right, let's get on to the main chunk of the show then, because we've got about half an hour left on the SD card over there, so we can run through it. Let's go through our league table predictions, which also allows us...
I made mine a minute before this.
You're doing it like you used to, were like when the teacher asked for your homework and like the classes all handed it in
This
and
is
you're like,
McGinley of this year. I can see it.
what do you think? What is it he said last year? Dundee 6th.
Dundee 6.
Fucking hell. I mean, that is a no wonder
I
he
was
gets
agreeing with that boy when he said Libby 12th. I thought this guy knows his stuff.
no wonder he gets pelters on Twitter, man. Dundee fucking 6th. Right. I am for full disclosure here. I am not giving out my league table predictions. I will say what I agree with and disagree with, but I am saving it for the main channel.
The viewers.
I've got to keep my...
Everybody cares what I think. It's exclusive to the 911 channel.
Like and subscribe on there at 35k. Thank you.
35k.
Yeah, 35k. Aye.
Hell, man.
Fine.
Famous, huh?
Unsubscribe. I'm kidding on. I'm still subscribed. But
So how do you want to go?
Just for support.
So how do you want to go about this? We'll just go and I'll ask who you've got in 12. You can all go through who you've got. Remember, we've not got a lot of time left, so let's try and get through
So
this.
see, to my benefit, we've not got a lot of time. I'll not begin a lot of reasons why.
Right, that's fine. That's all right. That suits us. So we're going to start from the bottom, and we're going to go for 12. Is there a unanimous vote for 12 here? We'll go
St
for
Johnson.
St Johnson.
St Johnson.
St Jobby.
Everybody's.
Who was it that said that last year on a podcast? St
I think
Jobby.
it was me or him because it's our pal that says it.
I think it was me.
I think it would have been me then. Our pal
Aye.
says it in the group chat. Shout out to Regan. So St Johnson. Who will why St Johnson? I'll open the floor.
I mean, who have they signed this? Some of them signed
Considine,
Considine,
Mr. Boogie.
Jamie Murphy.
Graham Carey.
They've lost Hendry. They've lost Rooney. I mean, there's still a wee while left of the window, but they're not exactly going to be
They're not trying to
splashing the
build something,
cash.
like
Nah.
they're just using regurgitated
Aye.
Not
Jobby.
business at all.
And I feel
No
like
offence to the guys, but they're in the twilight.
there's so many clubs in the league that don't seem to have any clear model, but to actually build themselves up to get to like position.
It's just recognisable Premiership names.
Aye.
And they're just offering out 2-year deals that they're going out of fashion.
I know.
So that's the reason for me anyway.
So we just think they've not signed well enough.
No.
They've lost too many good players, and obviously last season they were not great.
Crash.
It's funny how going in the double probably was the worst thing that happened to them because people just went, oh, we'll take all the people that were good then. And that's right now.
I know, it's crazy, and obviously it'll be interesting to see how Rooney links up with Bruni.
I mean, he's not going to be pinging boys to him, but
We'll see how it works.
And obviously they lost Rooney as well, who was an important player, and they lost McCart as well, who went down south. So it's like Clark. Has he got a club yet? He's a free agent.
he's with that club.
He's kicking about with Tom Rogic and fucking Oz. So what? Aye, let's go. 11th St Mirren.
Oh, okay. 11th St Mirren, right? Who has everybody got else? I'll let you all go round the table. Adam.
I've got Ross County in 11th.
I've also got Ross County in 11th.
Oh,
Livy.
oh.
That's merry a hope, to be fair.
I'll go St Johnstone bottom 2. I'll take
Right, so reasoning, Adam.
I can't see them replicating last season, primarily down to Regan Charles Cook, wasn't it? And if everybody remembers, County got off to a shocking start where they didn't win, I think, in their opening
That's
10.
right, aye.
Obviously lost Charles Cook, like I say. I think it's their business, like, they've been one of the most active, haven't they, County? Because
They've signed a fair few
7 or 8 or
players.
something.
Signed a
They've
few
been
for the
sort of
Canadian
expecting
Premier
them to
League.
gel all at once. I think the only reason that I would put them higher is down to their gaffer.
Malky. Set phasers to Milky. So Kennedy, sorry, Jack. You went with Ross County as well, didn't you?
Yes.
And are you just in agreement with Adam? Anything else that stands
do you
out?
want to know the real reason?
Okay, on you go.
See, when I typed it out, it looked right.
It just looks right. 11th Ross County. Do you know what? I think I can get that because I'm sure I put Ross County 11th last year.
It just looks like it should be
Are you
there.
putting them 11th this year?
Who knows?
You do.
I don't actually. That's another reason I'm not doing that. I've not done mine yet. I need a long and proper thing. But the one that baffles me, because I can understand Livy, right? Livy have defied a lot of expectations, but I think they're always going to be in that dogfight category at the start of a season. I think they're just one of the names you automatically go to when it comes to dogfights.
When you look through their squad, you think there's not a lot of real quality there, but I mean, Martindale's managed to work wonders with them in previous seasons. I mean, last year wasn't exactly a stellar season, but they've done the job.
They missed it in top six. Well, saying that, I think everybody could have got top six, couldn't they, in the last day of the season? But they missed it in with one game to go.
I just think Livingston's one of the teams that they pick up points where teams like Ross County and St Johnstone don't. Like they'll take points after us too consistently. I know, but the days are. I would love the days to be gone and them to go down.
They never really were there for us though. To be fair, like we always kind of got past Livy.
I mean, it was always our stumbling block, and then we finally beat them last season away from home. But I mean, we still dropped points to them twice last year.
Grim away, Dave.
They beat us, didn't you, at El Leon?
They beat us like the sixth game of the season or something, and then we drew with them at Celtic Park as well. So they're a thorn in our side. So I would just like to see them gone.
But Ross County and St Johnstone are then.
I know, especially not last year to be fair, but
yeah.
I've went St Mirren
because
I just feel like
about.
Robinson coming in after Goodwin left last season. Like I don't really feel like he got the kick out of St Mirren. They were actually in quite a good run of form, weren't they? With Goodwin, I think it was like 8 or 9 unbeaten when he came in, and then it was like
draw Big Jimbo. To be fair,
it was just like defeat after defeat after defeat. So they just don't inspire me, basically. Even though they've got some Budo, I just don't think Robinson's he's really going with them. So that's pretty much my reasoning.
I was going to say he's had his chance to sign some players, but I mean, who have they brought in? Declan Gallagher
all his former Motherwell.
It's like Motherwell players. That's what they do.
He's made a fair few. I'll tell you what, though, they've lost the boy Conor McCarthy. Has left.
Barnsley, innit?
Nah, he's away to Barnsley. He's away. So that is big. But apart from that, they've made a fair few saves. Declan Gallagher, he's come in. Marco Hara, of course, as well, coming in from Motherwell. Trevor Carson coming in from Motherwell. But then they signed from afar. They signed boy Ryan Strain from Maccabi Haifa. And a couple of other boys as well. Western Sydney, Keanu Bacchus. So they've signed. They've went.
Know all about them.
I know all about them. They have signed. There's, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 recruits. On top of an okay squad.
They signings just don't inspire me.
Yeah.
Like Gallagher.
Do you not think Gallagher's good enough for a team like St Mirren though?
I bet they didn't have some injury problems as well. I think he's good enough, but does it mean that they're going to be like?
I know what you're saying.
Half decent.
I don't think it's outrageous.
It's not really kicking on. It's kind of older players and stuff. Maybe he'll do enough to keep them in the league, but I just don't think that they'll. And I actually had quite high hopes for St Mirren in the last few years as well. When Goodwin was there, he was signing some young players. He was playing a certain style. They were good to watch on occasion. But
he was building something.
He was building something, but I feel like that's just I don't know if it's because I liked St Mirren because of Goodwin, because of what it was building, and maybe it's just not the same now, and that's why I've got them down so low. I don't know. That's probably what and I did it 10 minutes ago.
I think one thing about St Mirren we've got to talk about as well is that Ewan McVicker kit release.
Tremendous
stuff.
I'm a big fan.
Have you not seen it?
No.
Have you seen the away kit? The kit's a belter.
I've not seen nothing, mate. See, when I tell you I zone out, I just zone out. Like,
so they released it. You know
half of the Partick Thistle.
Do you know who Ewan McVicker? Do you know who Ewan McVicker is? DJ, tell me something good. He's a St Mirren fan, and he was the
I don't listen to music as well. I zone out in music.
You just become a monk.
What do you do?
He becomes a monk.
Meditate,
aye. Right, okay. Let's play for this. So 10th place. Who's everybody got?
I'll go St Mirren for that.
St Mirren. We've touched on St Mirren.
I'm St Mirren.
St Mirren as well.
The buddies as well.
and I'm actually Livy, so it's like.
So we've kind of went right. So fair. So we've all kind of apart from me because I've not done mine, but we've all used the same 3 clubs.
St Mirren, County, St Johnstone.
Yeah.
No, well, Livingston's been used a couple, but relatively.
I think I used County, did I?
Relatively, no, not yet. I don't think. But we're relatively in the same area here so far with our predictions. So St Mirren.
I always back Livy, but like just quickly, I just think how many years can
players leave and stuff like that, the best players, and how many years can Martindale just get the best out of them. Eventually, like, staying in the league, it should be the objective anyway for Livy, so 10th I think still a good position, man.
I'm looking at their signings just now and I'm thinking, yeah, by the way, talk about Livy, Alan Forrest away Hearts. What do you make of that?
We already talked about
Did we
that.
talk about that? Did we? I don't know.
Transfer low risk. I could be better for us than most of our.
See if I was
We're
you,
better than
I'd
fucking
have went for Regan Charles Cook.
It'll be better than fucking James Forrest this year, probably.
Money.
Maybe. I don't know.
I would take Alan over James at this moment in time.
Listen, he's done really well in pre-season.
Has he?
For crackers on his
Aye.
unofficial debut.
Oh,
High hopes.
right, okay.
I've
Right.
just this mate, like.
I know, poor Adam's just here, man's just here, innit? Right, 9th.
Crapping, mate.
I've got Livy.
Livy, okay. Livy as well from Adam.
County.
We got the same bottom four.
Oh, well.
We do, eh?
Are you copying his?
No.
No, man.
Legit.
Okay, so we've got here's the first one. So Kieran, you said Livingston there?
No, County.
Sorry, County, I can't remember what you said. But you've went Motherwell. Pretty low. And do you know what?
pretty low.
I'm surprised that you're the first person to bring Motherwell up because I think they will be down and out.
Exclusive.
No,
Don't need to watch a video
not
now.
down and out. I don't think as far as real.
We've done it.
I don't think not as far as down and out in terms of out the league. I don't see them getting relegated or nothing, but I think they will struggle this year.
Yeah, like, I actually backed them last season with Graham Alexander on the predictions show. And where did they finish? 4th?
Aye.
How did they manage 4th though? 4th or 5th? Like, how did they manage that? Because they never won a game for about 4 months after the turn of the year.
Aye.
Calendar year, I think it was.
I was actually on this podcast constantly before Christmas because we vanished after Christmas.
Yeah.
But I was always defending when you and David were saying, "Oh, the teams are shite and all that." I was like, you need to give a wee bit of credit to County and Livy for this, that, and the next thing."
Yeah.
But it got to a point where it was just absolute dire.
Mm-hmm.
And I eventually did realise like what is going on here. Motherwell were one of the teams who were so bad, and there was actually a lot of Motherwell fans criticising Graham
Oh, but
Alexander
here we
as
go.
well.
So here's
Because
my.
he just constantly changes players and stuff.
I'm going to pose a question.
Tony Watt leaving changed the game for them.
Yeah. I'm going to pose the question to all you here just to break up this a little bit. Who's the first manager to get sacked this year? 'Cause I think it's Graham Alexander.
I was thinking that to myself earlier. I think if he doesn't have a good start to this season, I think Europe could also be a bit of. I don't know. I could hurt him a wee bit because, especially if they don't get past Sligo Rovers. Like, I mean, I think it's a given. If it doesn't get past that, then he's gonna have people call him free seed. But I don't know if he doesn't get after a good start. People aren't gonna be quick to forget how shite they were. I mean, I think actually getting into European spots helped him last season, but I think people are still pretty annoyed that. But it saved him a wee bit. But no, I don't think he's gonna have too long this season if results don't drastically improve.
Any other managers you think could be up for the chop?
One of the Saints cappers, maybe no.
Potentially.
I mean, it's not exactly worked out for Robinson yet, has it? So
Shaky peg for the two of them, you could say.
yeah, and Callum Davidson, his stock was so high. That was the opportunity to then leave after.
Aye.
That. And
It's not you're gonna be able to like match that
he was
again.
destroying his own legacy, isn't he? I don't know.
No, he could never destroy his legacy. Even if he gets him relegated to the fucking low.
He'll have a
Suppose he is the
he'll
most
surely get
successful manager
he'll get
ever.
like a he'll get a stand named after him and all
Get a
that.
statue and everything.
Aye.
Statue of your oversized suit man. He's actually drowning.
Right.
Statue of him sliding through Hampton.
So what's the next position on the table then? I forgot where we got to there. I think
Eighth are we at, I think.
is it 8th next? So
Motherwell.
Motherwell. Okay.
I went Motherwell as well,
Okay,
actually.
we've got 2 for the Well.
I've gone Kelly.
Okay, Kelly, that's different. And you're saying
I've went for County.
right. So we don't really need any more county or Motherwell chat. Sorry, yeah, Motherwell chat. But we haven't had a Kelly yet. So Adam, you've got Kelly lower than everybody else at this moment in time. Do you think that
I
people?
do.
Do you
I'm
think people?
surprised at that as
Do you
well.
think people around the table are maybe overestimating Kilmar? Not.
I think they're overestimating the squad and they're probably realising that Derek McInnes is a top manager, which that's certainly my thinking anyway. I don't think it is a Premiership squad, if I'm honest. Kelly, on that Premiership budget, should have absolutely pissed the Championship last year, subsequently didn't.
Neither did Hearts, though.
Well, more
You will
convincingly than they
I know,
did.
but you handed Nielsen out and all that, like.
But they didn't
It's
even lose
not
to
as
Brora
easy to
Rangers
win
in
the
Cup,
championship.
did
It's not as easy to win the championship.
mate. What are Brora Rangers?
But so you're still standing by that Nielsen should have been sacked in the championship? Is that what you're saying?
Don't back down.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it, Div?
Derek McInnes, he only got the job halfway through the season.
No,
don't
like
they?
I know, but even the signings that they've made this season, I mean, there's nobody that really inspires you.
I don't like you
Alan
look at
Power, Liam Donnelly, Lewis
Alan
Mayo.
Powell's a good.
I
Lewis
think
Mayo
Kerr
from
McInroy's a
Rangers.
decent player,
Fraser
but
Murray
in
Lowe.
championship level.
Alan Powell's
I
just a
think
pure
Exactly,
thug,
you get
man.
Fraser Murray as well making the step up again to the SPL. Like he was brilliant last year.
Look, I could well be proven wrong by Derek McInnes, but I just look at that squad. You're probably relying on Kyle Lafferty. Week in, week out.
Oh, I forgot he's still fucking there.
So I don't know.
You can
I
just
don't know
see
if
it.
it's-
You can just see it already. First fucking trip to Rugby Park, that prick's going to score 2 or
It's pure,
3.
it's pure flashbacks to them. No, it's pure flashbacks, man. Do you not mind when we were in Zante and 4 years ago and we got beaten Kyle Lafferty scoring,
We were in
man?
Zante and we went to the pub on the Sunday morning to go and watch fucking Celtic Hearts game.
What a goal that was.
And
I don't know, I think about it.
Nah,
No,
No, that was
that
the
was
year
a year
before.
before that. Fuck me, don't even want to
That was
talk
before
about
he
it.
went
So
back to
Kelly
you.
quite low down. So everybody else has got Kelly higher, which is interesting. I personally think Kelly will finish top half.
No, let's wait till we're in the top half. and then we can-
Okay, well, I was wanting to hear your thoughts on Kelly, but okay, we'll move on to is it 7th next.
Aberdeen.
Oh, missing out the top half.
As we spoke about, but I mean, they've lost some good players. It doesn't look like they're going to spend all that big. I mean, they're not going to spend that big. It's Aberdeen at the end of the day, but I don't know. There's still about a while to go, so it could be early doors to say it, but I don't know if it's that the squad's improved enough to actually raise them up that level. I don't know what their priority is, to be fair, because they need to try and get themselves back up there, but with the way their signings are so far, it doesn't look like it's actually going to be plausible.
I also have Aberdeen.
Oh, do you have Aberdeen as well? So they're missing out the top half for you, right? Tiv, you're not going to say Aberdeen as well, are you?
No.
No, you're not. Who are you saying?
Celtic.
Got Hibernian.
Hibs missing out the top half, and you don't got much faith in Lee Johnson?
Nah,
No.
not really.
Okay.
They just had again like last season after like losing Martin Boyle. They didn't excite me. Like, and this appointment doesn't excite me either. So I just think they're just
Hibs. I mean,
Couldn't have put it in
I
better
know.
myself.
I feel like there's just a bit of a cycle at Hibs where you get a manager in, there's a wee bit of a lift, and then
it's
I don't know if it's
been,
going to go on if they start off purely.
it's been
Given
a
Big Ron's record.
it's been a weird window for them because they've signed a couple of that Tavares from Benfica. Who knows how he'll be, but that's a bit exciting. It's something different. But then you've got David Marshall and Aidan McGeady. Like you're really
Don't get it.
fishing from the well of the
I
past
don't
there.
mind David McGeady because he was still
Yeah, I think McGeady will do
for
well.
Sunderland. Like he was still scoring goals. But obviously Big David Marshall was like
chasing shadows in Hampden Park, man.
chasing shy. So I don't know. No, they just don't inspire me. And yeah,
Okay,
I've got Aberdeen just above them, lads.
right. We'll give it a sec for a minute. Jack, why are you putting Aberdeen in the bottom half?
Like, similar to what he said, like, last season was absolutely god awful, and I don't think they've done enough to push them up so far in the table. And to be honest, when I was making the list, the teams I've got above them, I couldn't put them above them. Like, I couldn't do it.
They've got. I think they've got one of the biggest jobs in terms of lost Ferguson, they've lost Ramsey. Constantine isn't great, but he's been there a long time. So they've lost Constantine, they've lost McGeoch. They're 4 players straight away that are tough enough to replace.
But the latter two barely featured.
I
in
know.
the
I
second
suppose.
half for injury, so this is needed to happen for.
I think it'll be a good thing.
For a wee while, I think so.
So who did you put 6th? Seventh, sorry,
I've got
seventh.
Motherwell in 7th.
7th Motherwell. Right, we've spoken enough about Motherwell, and we've not got a lot of time left. So fuck Motherwell.
That's going to come back.
6th place then.
Yeah, I've put Kelly to
Kelly.
sneak into the top half.
I've got the cabbage.
I feel like
so who
there's
have you got?
I've got the cabbage and ribs.
Oh,
Hibs.
right. Who the fuck's cabbage? And you've got.
I've got Aberdeen, so
Aye, right. So
close.
So we have 3 people on this table that think Kelly will finish top half.
I don't know, I think it's what Adam said, but about Derek McInnes, I feel like he is a good manager to have at Kelly. I'm pretty sure the Kelly fans have been buzzing when they got him in, and I think there's a wee bit of a feel-good factor coming up for the Championship. It was tough to get relegated in the way they did, but I think after last season it wasn't gone too well. They got Derek McInnes in. I mean, it was a bit too close for some of their likings, I'd imagine, going down to the game against Arbroath, but I mean, they'll be happy to get up. As you say, that some of the signings like Kerr McInroy and that, I don't know if he's exactly Premiership quality, but I don't know, I just think something about Kelly as a whole. I mean, it's a far cry for the Steve Clark days, but it just felt like a pure unity, a team together, and like on that plastic park, the bastards they would just love to take points off people there. And I mean, I suppose I put Livy all the way down at the bottom, but I'm hoping Livy have ridden a luck.
Yeah, fair enough there. The only thing that Livy are good for is the away day because they're guaranteed a ticket for it.
They've just get bad memories of going to Livy, that's what it is.
That is exactly it.
Thank you. And Jack, I take it once again. You're just
Very similar kind
very
of points.
similar,
In terms of like the teams below them, I just see they've got something that they don't, and like the way they were playing last season, even though they didn't win the league by an absolute mile, they were playing better football than everybody by a mile, but I think they'll do well.
How different things could have been with Arbroath in the league this year?
I'd have loved it.
That'd have been mad, 12. Arbroath 12. Then they go and win the league.
They did Blackpool, wasn't it, when they
went to the Prem. See, to be fair, Blackpool looked as though they were going to stay up for a long time, and it was like the second half of the season.
Who is that who's got the lowest points at Derby County?
Derby County.
13 points,
Something like that.
something around that region.
12, 13,
Aye. And Adam, you said who for sixth again? Sorry, you said Hibs. Do you want a quick dig at Hibs, or do you want a quick dig at them?
No, I think they've summed it up well.
6 is a good position for Hibs.
I don't know about Ron the Con and this whole. I don't know how much time he's willing to give Lee Johnson. I feel it would just be average and no better than average. So
Okay.
I mean, they took a big gamble last year, like going outside the box with Sean Maloney, and then instead of, I think if you're going to make an outside the box appointment, you need to give him time to try and build something, and then they sacked him before the season, was it?
So this is the thing. Say they get off to a bad start,
I know,
and
I
Lee
feel-
Johnson immediately comes under fire. Does he then
I know, like,
sack him?
I feel like you need to-
get another manager.
if you're going to gamble, go all in. Like, you can't just be pure half-hearted with it, and I feel like that just keeps happening at teams across the league. But
Aberdeen were pulling another with glass last
Aye.
season, weren't
Yeah. Fifth.
I went Hibs for fifth.
I'm Kelly in 5th.
You went Hibs as well. Jack's went Hibs. You went Kelly fifth. As high as fifth.
I'm just the same hang like Derek McInnes. That's what I'm hanging my hat on here. I think he's a
Will
brilliant coach.
he do a good enough job to get the Rangers job when Gio goes?
No, well, I thought Rangers went stratospheres above young Derek now, and in my opinion, he's still a young manager, but no, Rangers have got bigger fish to fry, mate,
And Adam,
as you'll see this season.
for fifth.
I've gone with the Dandy Dons.
Okay. Aberdeen as high as fifth.
He's put a bit of faith in them.
Aye.
But we're all dead close. It's like
just
one
like-
position, so it's like
I like Goodwin.
I like
don't know.
Goodwin as well. I really like Goodwin. I think he's a great manager.
I don't know. I just feel like they're more likely to get it right than Hibs because Hibs are Hibs.
I think he's got a big job in his hands, but
How good would this podcast have been with a Hibs fan sitting there? I would have been, that would have looked good.
that made sense.
Aye, I'd have
Thank
made
God PSF haven't branched out yet. That's what I'm saying.
okay.
Surely you know a Hibs fan that would come on here.
I know several Hibs fans, but do I want to invite any of them on? Absolutely not.
associates.
And whether they're pals or not is, you know.
It's up for the acquaintances. Acquaintances, yes. Anyway, top four. This is it. So this is the, well, not as big as England, I suppose, with their top four, but it's the this is us getting into, because you look at last season. No, you don't. I'm talking absolute shit because last season it was like two above the rest, and then Hearts were just better than everything else. But top four, we'll get there. Fourth place
Dundee United.
Aye.
is Dundee United. Dundee United.
See darts.
Why don't you just say the name?
Really?
I'm just going to put. I'm going to put another one of these disclosures out. We're definitely not going to have video for that because we can't just cut it off in 5 minutes time because there's still quite a bit to cover here. So eventually this is going to turn to audio only, but I'm sure you can survive after an hour of great footage. We'll have that sorted for the next one. It's just because SD card shortages. Professional podcast, I know. So come. That's interesting. Div, you for fourth. United as well. Right, so I've got 3 for Dundee. Jack, I'll start with you. Why United?
It's like I said again. See when I was thinking about who's going to finish above who in terms of like just in a season long kind of stint.
Aye.
Obviously you're going to know who my third is. So I just didn't see them finishing above Hearts,
Okay.
and Hibs are shite. Kilmarnock is going to be the surprise one, and then the rest are shite. So
Do you know what? As far as Scottish, Scottish football goes, that's pretty much it, to be honest. But Dundee United have had only 3 signings, and obviously a big change because your man Hingmadub is gone. Tancourts, he's away, and Jack Ross is in. Jack Ross has returned to the league much sooner than anticipated, and he's landed himself in a decent role. If anything, I think he's landed himself in a better role with Dundee United than what he had at Hibs, because I think Hibs are a bit of a mess. And Dundee United are a club who they came through the ranks, have came out of the Championship, they've come back to the top flight, and they seem to be making gradual progression. Whereas Hibs have just been up,
That'll be a
down,
massive
up, down.
kick in the stones if Hibs finish bottom 6 and they see Jack Ross.
Oh,
it's going to
in
happen.
Europe again.
I think and they've made 2 big signings in particular. I know they signed Craig Sibbald as well, which is a decent enough signing from
that's a
Motherwell.
very
But
good
2 big
signing.
signings. Dylan Levitt from Manchester United. They
believe that.
made that a permanent deal. He was linked with Hearts, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Or was it just you trying to link him with Hearts?
Right, well, I just seen you tweeting about him.
Dylan Levitt.
Right, well, so Dylan Levitt made permanent from Manchester United. That's huge.
That's ridiculous business because 300 grand, I think it was.
That's
a
great.
Eric Ten Hag just like, fuck off. Who are you? Get to. And then, as well, a dramatic return to Scottish football for none other than Stephen Fletcher. Can we just cover one story very quickly? Stephen Fletcher, returning to Scottish football, he was interviewed or asked a question about moving to Celtic, and he said the closest that he came to a move to Celtic was at the beginning of the 2020-21 campaign.
That's frightening to me.
That is absolutely mortifying. Apparently he was very close to signing. If that season wasn't bad enough, we could have had fucking Stephen Fletcher playing up front for Celtic. So
How do you think he'll actually do that? Because
Stephen Fletcher and
He'll score
Albion 80.
Stephen Fletcher.
oh,
He's had a better career. He's had a better career.
I know Albion is actual mince, man. Like, £5 million we paid for him, man.
Just goes to show you that it's in the Premier League.
10 million on a Yeti and Barkas.
Yeah, we're going to leave the past with past, Jack.
I don't like the way you're talking about Stephen Fletcher.
I think he could turn it to be alright.
I think you're being disrespectful.
no disrespected, but he's not a Celtic player.
Not in 2020.
No, of course not. But talk
That's
us
a bit
through
mad.
Fletcher's side of United, your thoughts.
I think he'll be a good signing. I know he was still playing last year. Chef Wednesday won it in League One, still scoring some goals.
No, he-
Was he at Stoke?
Before
Before that,
Stoke.
Chef Wednesday
Aye.
then, and then must have
They got relegated.
He's still scored. He's always scored goals everywhere he's went. Like that's why every time he was playing for a Premier League team, he'd always score a certain amount of goals. He would get relegated. That's probably not really good. Like good. But and then another team would buy him because they know that he had goals. Whether he's got to a point in his career where he's just too old, I don't know. At this level, I think it'll be a good signing, and they've got a very good squad, by the way.
An upgrade on.
No wonder
Clark,
you don't back your own
McNulty.
team and you're going to United. I'm
United.
actually thinking about changing now. You've convinced me that Hearts.
I just think Europe's such a big factor for us.
Right, do you know? Give me your spiel then. Why are Dundee United better than Hearts?
Well, we've touched on a nightmare draw for United. There's one. We're guaranteed group stage football till, the new year, the World Cup, all that jazz. It's going to be tough. I'd
There
love
goes
for us
the
to be-
camera, by the way. So just to clarify, we are now going to transition into an audio-only podcast.
Taps off, boys.
To be fair, I don't know how we've nobody did it taps half or whatever like this anyway. Sorry, Adam, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it was
Not at all.
just to tell the audience.
So yeah, I just like you say. I think I think Jack Ross is a better manager than Ron Gordon evidently thinks. Than some Hibs fans will think. I think that United have recruited well. We still need bodies. It's as simple as that. And trying to compete on a continental and domestic front is tough. We haven't done that for the best part of 2 decades. So I'm just lowering my expectations. I don't want to be disappointed. Any lower than 4th, I probably will
The
be
hope that
disappointed.
kills you, innit?
Exactly. So go in and just have it be better than you initially anticipate, or
You're right.
not at all. Thanks.
You're convincing me to change my top 2 now.
Christ, so that means that everybody else around the table has got Hearts and third though.
I still think they'll be
They're
better than
they were
the
such
rest.
a level above
Aye.
that I think they can.
I think
they
it's
can
going to
keep
take
that.
longer this season for the rest of them. After the way some of the teams were playing last season, I thought it was quite horrendous at points. Really, I mean, as we spoke about Motherwell managing to get top 6 after no really. Did they even win a game like up until just before the?
It was like the split. They won a game or something.
Beat our backup brigade.
So I feel like you've got a lot of teams trying to get themselves back up to the levels they were at. So I don't know. I think Hearts will still be able to keep it up, even though you're saying about group stage football. But like, I think after Christmas you're gonna be able to like.
hopefully salvage the season.
Aye, so I think that'll be the thing. Why is it difficult? His camera, my
What are you
The
doing?
cameras are off, so I was getting a wee gram hang.
Oh, a wee-
Not a gram. Insta fucking gram.
Oh, whoa.
We'll take your word for it.
This podcast has truly went dark, hasn't it? Okay, so it's the
Hearts in third. I gave my reason there,
Yep,
so
yep.
I think it's pretty much the general consensus on it, right?
Yep. And
No,
this,
to be fair, because Adam, you have convinced me that United are better than Hearts now.
Come on, mate.
The Hearts.
Player
It's
for
your
player.
prediction. It's not our prediction. It's yours. So you tell me.
so Div,
No, I know, but I asked
final
you-
decision, Div.
I'm just going to side with Adam. If he
Right.
thinks Dundee United are better than Hearts, there's no
Bottling bastard.
How is that bottling, mate? You're just very convincing. You obviously think Dundee United,
no.
player for player, manager wise,
Listen, I hope I'm
etc.,
wrong.
on the pitch are a better team than you're inside.
Wait,
so
hold the
how
bus,
am I
hold
to
the
go
bus.
against the Hearts
Hold
fucking?
the-
Hold on a second. This is coming from
hold the
everybody that
bus, hold the
questioned me
bus.
when I wanted Robbie Nielsen out.
I was
Exactly.
Right, hold the bus. Is Adam Kennedy, Hearts fan, just admitted to Jack Ross, former Hibs manager, being a better manager than Robbie Nielsen? No?
Not at all. I just
You
think
were
That'd be a
passive
good-
there when I was saying
That'd be a good soundbite. I'm sure all the Hearts fans would love you on Twitter for that.
that's not what let's move this on.
Let's create some controversy. Yeah?
I think Adam might be the reason that Levitt actually signed for Dundee United. I mean, he's been big in Dundee United. That was something awful in this podcast. And he's like, no, fuck Hearts.
Yeah, he did some verse.
I was actually joking there, to be fair. Like, I do not agree with your views. I really don't. I
Good.
think Hearts third.
I hope you're right.
I don't agree with you on the manager thing. I don't agree with you on the player thing.
Hold on a
I
second.
think player
Just
for
to
player,
clarify,
Hearts are so much better than Dundee United.
I
bro.
did not say
you
that
really
Jack
need to start
Ross
backing
is
your
a
team.
better manager
You
than
really need to start backing your team.
No, because it only goes one way. I don't want to be disappointed. I've explained that to Jack. Jack's on my side here.
Okay.
Mate, if I was a Hearts fan, I'd have had them first.
Jack's known your side. He's got Hearts in front of him.
That's honesty. That's brutal honesty. Right, it brings us to the big question. It brings us to
I
who
wonder who.
will win the Scottish Premiership this season. Now, I think that we can all take a wild assumption here and say that the two Rangers fans may say Rangers and the two Celtic fans may say Celtic. I, for one, am saying nothing because you can find out my opinion on the Ryan 118
Oh, shut
channel.
up.
Sometime next week.
I know it's hoops.
So I'm assuming that you're all going to back your own team because what's
Yes.
the point if you don't back your own team?
See the thing,
said we'll finish
not to
off.
sound pure blue nose as fuck here, but see the thing is in the grand scheme of things, it's we're back to the point where it could be any of them. So
Yeah,
obviously I'm going to sit here and say that we can win it, and I think we will win it because I back my team all the way, and it's not trying to be blue tinted glasses. See if it was like the seasons where you were pumping us
Aye,
5-1 and I said Rangers, I'm saying it because I'm a Rangers fan.
Aye, exactly.
But at this point, it literally can go either way.
But,
So
I mean, what was the points difference last year? 5?
4.
4.
No, 3. Was it not? Goal difference. Aye.
Because we
I mean, obviously, we
You got
drew.
points
we
for
drew.
United,
Aye,
didn't you? So was
aye.
it 3?
So I think it went down to 3. Aye, 3 points is all that was in it, and it probably looked a lot better on Celtic just because we managed to extend it beforehand. Like if it was 3 points,
because it was
going
done for a while.
Aye,
the
exactly.
goal difference was
Aye.
like-
So like it wasn't probably as big a deal as what it
Aye.
could have been or whatever.
I think United
How-
beat us about 16-0 for Rangers.
Aye, that's right. So it is back to the days where we go into this season. Anybody
It's literally a coin flip.
can win it. Anybody can. I think that by Christmas, by the World Cup, I think that one team will stand out a bit more than the other. Don't know who. Could be Celtic, could be Rangers. I think there will be someone who stands out, but that's the thing with this World Cup break.
No,
It comes
no.
back.
Brutal, man,
What's
'cause, I mean,
what's going to happen?
when's it
Somebody
break?
might-
12th of November?
Mhm.
12th of November,
Yep.
and then we're back like
January.
just before. No, it's just before Christmas.
Is it before Christmas?
Aye, which is a bit. I mean, most of the players for Celtic and Rangers not only going to exactly be playing the last stages of the World Cup, so it shouldn't be too much of a hassle. Most players should be back for it, but I mean, I just hate the fact it's in the winter. It's just so disruptive to the season.
Aye.
Literally would be on the new.
I know.
Should be. I know we should actually
Breaks
have
don't
it.
really
just
do
finished,
as much
aye.
good. Do they? Breaks.
Um,
They don't really do as much.
So, Div,
yes.
Jax gave his reason.
Yeah.
What's yours?
Well, obviously I'm going back Rangers. I don't know. I'm excited. I agree with Jack that it's been as close as it's been for years. Like you've got two very strong squads now. Something that I'm very excited about from a Rangers point of view is the additions that we've made,
100%.
and they're very good additions on paper. Obviously, Jesus. I don't. Thank fuck the cameras knowing I can get clipped there, but. That's what excites me. So Rangers were obviously at a good point at the end of the last season. They just missed out in the league, but they got to the Europa League final. They put Leipzig out. They went all the way to fucking penalties in the Europa League final. Then they went and they won the Scottish Cup. So they were obviously in a great place squad wise. They've added to that, which is exciting. Celtic have made a couple of additions, but they've kind of got the same players. So I feel like I know what to expect for Celtic, whereas Rangers,
Something new.
there's got to be something new there. And I feel like Gio was coming into his own, made a couple of mistakes in the first couple of months. But no, I think it's clicking, Jack.
See a
So
point,
I go into this season confident.
See a point I'll ask you, Dev, as well. See, like, I think the Scottish Cup win is so underrated. Think about what the players had went through about fucking 10 minutes before we were there, and the Hearts team that would have been right up for that, and we weren't even that good. And
it was a shit game to watch.
Aye,
it was an awful fucking game to watch.
But see, the thing is, the fact we got.
And Ebo had played about 7
Think
games
about
by that
how many times we went to extra time in the space
Oh,
of like
aye.
a couple of months.
That's sorry, I just battered the microphone. I never like to blow smoke up a Rangers arse. It's my least favourite thing to do.
Go on, then
But
just do it.
You've got to be realistic in the sense of talking about, that was in the shadows of a massive European fit. Like, that wasn't a week or two after, that was 3 days after, or 4 days after a European final.
It went all the way.
Heartbreak. And they had to play they played 120 minutes, as you said there. They played 120 minutes against
Leipzig.
They played 120 minutes fucking against everybody, it seemed, at some point. It was and this is where it's probably a negative for you. I feel like it was just so much in the shadows of both that Europa League final and also Postecoglou doing what he done.
On the
fact
day-
that he won the league in his first season, I think that was the overwhelming story in domestic football. So everybody's like, Scottish Cup.
On the day of the Scottish Cup final, I'll be honest, I left thinking, alright, like, that needed to happen
Aye.
for us to be even salvage that. It hadn't been until a wee bit later on I was like, actually think about what we just done there in terms of the season run we had with the Europa League, and to go and take that trophy after 4 days after doing it. So I think that's a big sign of just how good we are as a squad.
No, I agree with you. Aye. It was only after winning the Scottish Cup that I could kind of reflect on the Europa League
Aye.
and be proud of the run and obviously the heartbreak that came with it, but having won that, you've still got something at the end of the season to celebrate. You can then look back on that Europa League final,
Be proud of it, no?
and still be proud of it.
Look, how fuck it. We didn't even get the chance to talk about it though, right? How fucking good is Kevin Trapp? What a keeper.
Jammy bastard.
Never even got the fucking chance.
So their penalties were insane. as well.
Everybody's penalties, but apart from one
Penalty,
penalty was fucking obscenely
The
good.
standard of that final was crazy, but
I still can't. I don't
That's
want
what
to
it is.
start. We're not going to go and do a fucking rewatch of the game and start talking everything else. But I still can. This is not even to wind you up. I cannot get over that Kevin Trapp save and the.
Dying Ember.
although I heard it was out already, the ball was
Aye, I
out, so
think
it wouldn't
that-
even have counted. But
But I mean, imagine they never
it's not
challenged
going to
that.
wind us up anyway, because it's still obviously we get beat, but it's still another European final
Aye,
that
cool.
I'll remember.
And it's-
Do you know what I mean? Like, and it's setting one in our lifetime that
It's also
we've been old enough to remember.
Yeah.
Rangers
So-
have had the most European finals out of any team in Scotland.
What a trophy for Rangers.
No, but it just shows. See if you look at me and Div's lifetime, the fact that we had two in our lifetime.
We've had one in
I
the
do
don't
remember.
remember.
I know, but do you remember that?
No,
though?
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Do you know
saying.
what I
We've
mean?
had one.
Do you
I
think
don't
you'll
remember
get
it.
one?
I mean, fuck knows how long I've got in this planet at this rate.
You'll need
Not too long,
a big
but-
improvement like the
Yeah,
next few years,
absolutely.
because
Like, listen,
in Europe you have been
I
trapped.
think
for
it'll be
a
about.
long
I
time.
think it'll be about gradual progression for
See
Celtic in Europe. To be
see
honest,
why I think it will happen. Either or. See if you look at the way it's working now. So, like, use example right in the Champions League. See if you finish third, you're in the last 16 Europa League.
Yeah.
A good couple of draws and you're. And
I think that's enough for us.
I know,
We
it's-
need
it's-
to-
But then
Celtic
the
are
new
the most
model, that's
trust
why
no man.
you don't
as long as you
drop
don't
it
get
in the
bowled
Europa
over,
League.
you're alright.
The new model, you don't drop it in the Europa League. Did you?
I
see-
did.
I
Aye,
do.
it's
If you
not.
finish
It's not
third,
changed yet.
if you're in the-
No, I'm not talking about this year. I'm talking
Aye.
about in the next few years.
Oh,
Aye,
they're
it's
going to
when that
change
changes,
it.
you don't drop.
The Swiss model, it's
You
changed
play
again.
like
innit?
8 games in it.
Something
Why have
weird.
they got to tamper with it?
I know.
I know.
It's just to help the elite clubs get
But I
in.
don't. Is that actually confirmed to be happening?
I don't know the new format is, but they're definitely changing it. Aye.
What do
I
you
thought that was just put forward.
That's a different podcast to say, right? Before we get to Adam sitting here patiently waiting to fucking tell us who he thinks will win the league.
Not that anybody cares. So I'm just spewing at Jack saying that he thought it was alright that Rangers won the Scottish Cup.
I don't really
I'd
matter.
have given my left nut to win the Scottish
See,
Cup.
that's. I think
when
it's
you
so
win it 30
different, but
times, mate, you
like,
used it.
and I think it's so different for a team like Hearts, but. I mean, for Hearts, that's their Europa League final, like getting to the Scottish Cup. So I
many
mean,
finals is it?
we don't even have a shot on target.
How many finals is it? Is it like 4 in the last 5?
3 and 4 years, mate.
You've
90
won
minutes,
fuck all.
extra time, and on pens. Thanks very much for reminding that.
I'm just
Oh,
annoying you
lovely.
'cause I can see your list and you've got Celtic win the league.
Oh, have you now? Oh, well, let's get Mr.
That was
Olds.
very brave.
Let's
between
get
the two Rangers
Mr.
fans,
Let's
but,
get.
I was actually excited that we were going to be so close, but see this podcast has progressed.
You're a wank.
You're starting to annoy me. So tell us why.
Yeah, well, hold on, we've got to let Kieran go first.
Kieran
Right,
on
because
bias.
let's get the bias bit out of the way.
Imagine Kieran, I think Rangers will win the league.
not a chance.
Let's get in the way.
Nah, I mean, obviously, you've got to back Celtic. As a Celtic fan, there's no chance you've got to go there and say Rangers are going to win it. Last season, I couldn't have been confident going into it, but this year, you got to have belief that we're actually going to build on what we done last season, that it wasn't just that sort of one-off thing. What Div said about he knows what to expect for Celtic this season, but like I've seen that being thrown about a wee bit, like Celtic have spent like £12 million to stand still. I'm like, standing still was still better than the rest last year. It was enough to make us win the league, and we're making other signings, and I can see Div extending the arm for an important point here.
I'm not an important point, but just in case I need to like make a point.
No, but I just think it was vital for us to sign Jota and Carter Vickers. Jota's absolutely unreal, and Carter Vickers helped out our defence on another level last season. We were in absolute shambles the year before. To then get a partnership with Starfelt and Carter Vickers, it was the best in the league. A partnership, Starfelt came in for a lot of criticism last year, but I mean, him and Carter Vickers were absolutely solid.
By the end of Starfelt's season, he was unbelievable. Like,
it's that first game against us that he was.
I know. It's so hard to shake impressions, but like, especially at Pierre, I feel like the media run with it.
Just a bit of a bomb scare at times, I think.
I feel like the media love to run with stuff like that, and like once as I said, you get that impression, it's hard to shake, and it just kind of gets. Especially on social media, any wee thing gets picked up on. But I just think Celtic, we've still got a couple more signings to make. I think stock it being this week. Aaron Moy, and somebody said somebody from Argentina as well is meant to be coming in, but I'm not sure what's actually happening with that. But I'm confident about at least a couple more signings. Try to strengthen the squad. I think we're trying to look into positions where we're a bit weak. I mean, we've signed a left back, but Greg Taylor's came under a lot of scrutiny. Came onto a game at the end of last season. I just think we're making this. We don't need to have a pure overhaul like we did last summer. I think that's a good position to be in.
Celtic are in a good position where we don't need to spend money. We're spending smart. There's no point in spending for the sake of it. I'm seeing a lot of Celtic fans getting touchy on social media the last couple of days about Aaron Moy because it's a free transfer. We've spent what we had to spend. We don't need to spend anymore. It's not like there's. I think a centre half would obviously be nice. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe that.
I think we still need a centre half.
Apart from that, we need to be. I think being smart is the way to go. And that's what Celtic are now doing. They're being smart with the rest of their signings just in this window.
I mean, a lot of people are getting on the Aaron Moy signing, thinking it's just a pure easy option. But I mean, everybody, I think Ange has earned a bit of credibility now that if he thinks he's good enough to come in and do a job, then obviously, like, seems like a no-brainer.
1 year deal. Like,
it's not a different type of player that you're after, though.
I know that. I feel like a lot of people are picking up on the fact that we want to get like a number 6 to sort of cover, because obviously Beaton's away. But I don't know. I don't think he'll be the only midfield acquisition, to be honest with you, but time will tell. There's still a good bit left in the transfer window.
40 days left.
Now we're on Adam Kennedy.
Adam, yes. Right, so this is... Jack spoiled it for us.
Yeah, sorry.
But you think Celtic will win the league? I mean, thank you very much.
Look at me.
Thank you very much, but give us your reasoning.
Probably the first time since 2012 that it could go one of two ways. Get to stay that very intensely here.
Yeah, it's mad when you think about it, right? Because I think this is the first season since 2012. It could go either way,
100%.
Which is weird because at the start of 2020, Celtic are destined for 10 in a row was the general consensus on our side. But then last year, Rangers are surely going to win the league. That was the general consensus on both sides as well. So I feel like this is actually the first season where it's probably been, it could be anybody's title.
Without a doubt. And that's why I'm clueless. So I've gone with who won it last year. Simple as. Thanks very much.
That's not your only fucking reason. Give us peace. Tell us. You love Postecoglou. You know you do.
I like
Look at Ryan's face.
Is that camera still?
That camera is still on, actually. Yeah,
no, I actually want to know.
Score goals aplenty. I just feel as though they're more ruthless than Rangers. I feel like Rangers are more likely to be defensively solid because I think John Suter's a fantastic signing, and I'm a wee bit better if I'm honest in that respect. So yeah, I'll go for.
We're no better. If you know the video, you know the video.
Kills.
So that's it. Celtic just to win the league because they scored goals.
I'm just angry
about John Suter.
I left one of those ratings on your coffee shop, John.
You've helped us. Has he got a coffee shop?
He does.
Don't tell him. He'll tell his 35,000 minions.
That's his business in the mud, innit?
Tonight we're going to steal the moon. Okay, right, so
Adam just lost about 20 staunch points there.
The aim of the game is to be impartial.
Aye, okay. If you say so. Oh, listen, Adam, you're lucky when the camera
Nobody
goes
likes
off.
us, to be honest.
Can say that again.
I mean, I believe in
me rather than us.
I mean, what was the point I made last year when we were on? Hearts had just got promoted for the championship, and I said, keep the bastards down there. I think that
Take it all
speaks for
back.
itself.
Come on, boys. We've got this belief. Take it all back.
That's Adam now switched to the Rangers side for the audio viewers.
I don't know. I don't care.
You don't care?
No.
You're like a cheap hooker.
Nice.
I'm not sure how to take that.
I don't know why I said that.
Right, to end the show, quick fire questions from me and then quick fire questions from the viewers. This is going to be the last segment. We'll try and wrap it up in 1:30. We're at 1:20. So, top scorer this season, who's it going to be? Quick fire, bang.
I hope it's Kyogo.
Kyogo.
Morelos.
Where else?
Giacomakis will go down.
You agree with me? I'm saying Giacomakis as well. Right, Dev.
James Tavernier.
Okay.
Oh.
I mean, if a penalty. Oh fuck! We've not even spoke about VAR coming in the second half of this season.
I might change my answer.
So okay, that's right. That's fine. We've said first to be sacked, so we all agreed on Alexander.
No, I'm Robinson.
Oh, you're
I'll go
Robinson.
Robinson as
It's
well.
2 Robinsons, 3 Alexanders.
I've got Alexander.
I've got Alexander.
Alexander's right. Okay. What other kind of questions can you get again?
He'll come up.
Who'll come up?
Aye, because we need to actually talk about the alarm because I forgot
We'll
about
do
that.
that the next show. But who will come up?
I've gone either of the Thistles.
I'm going Partick.
I'll go Inverness then.
Right.
I'll go Inverness. I like the sound of that.
I'm going Queen's Park.
Abroad.
Oh wow. Arbroath. Can Arbroath keep that up back to
I
back?
hope so, man. I hope so.
And finally, the last quick fire from me, player of the season.
Tavernier.
Tavernier.
I think about it, mate.
I feel like yours should be Tavernier if he's going to be top scorer.
That's just standard for him now, mate. Stuff like that, scoring goals, getting assists.
Scoring penalties.
Europa League top goal scorer.
What?
Europa League top goal scorer.
Exactly.
Europa League top penalty taker.
What a player. What a
Loves a
player.
pen,
I'm a
man.
bit of man.
Honestly, though, see the levels that he's had in the last 2 years,
He's
it's
ridiculous,
absolutely
man.
crazy. If we can get one more year out of that, then he will be player of the fucking year.
So you think he could be player of the year?
He's got to be top goal scorer, right?
Right, okay. Adam.
Would make sense, would it?
Callum McGregor.
Callum McGregor. Safe bet, innit?
Callum McGregor. 2 years in a row.
Mate, Callum McGregor could easily be 5 years in a row, to be honest.
No
Brilliant.
10, but
Was no CG last year?
Oh, it's
Trey
like,
Gordon, aye.
depends on
Shut
who you're
up, you're
listening.
piping smoke.
Depends
Depends who you're
what
listening.
channel
Yeah,
you
aye. Your player of the year.
Jota.
Yeah,
So
okay.
just after seeing him against Blackburn, man. Silky.
Aidan McGiddy.
You're starting to sound like me, mate.
If they want me, can spin my
Aidan McGiddy. Player of the year. No, genuinely, I am going to go with... Okay, I'm going to throw one out there. Matt O'Reilly.
Oh,
I think Lawrence will be good for us
Gotta
this
go
year as
Matt
well.
O'Reilly. Shankland. Oh, the boy for Derby.
Aye,
Aye,
he'll be
aye. I'm going Matt O'Reilly. He's my pick. I think he could have a massive season. Matt O'Reilly being the Rogic replacement, you could say. I mean, technically not because he played with fucking Rogic, but he's like the regen, isn't he? So
He
I'm
can
gonna-
run.
He can run. He's got his Rogic with fitness. So
Heir to the throne.
the heir to the Rogic throne. Right, and let's
viewer question.
your questions to finish off the show, because there's not that many actually. Thoughts on the new Rangers Scran, Jack and Div? Have you any
Oh,
tried
by
it?
the way, man.
It's about fucking time, by
is
the
it
No,
way.
but the
good,
only
huh?
thing is, I guarantee it's
I
like
don't know.
20 quid for a burger, man. But that's score for a
So what is
burger.
these? Have got like venison burgers and.
Oh, here, have you seen the pictures yet?
I seen like
it
the
looks
photos.
shit.
Haggis, probably.
I seen like the photos at the mad event where they were
Obviously, it won't look like
aye,
that.
aye. So that's what I was going to say. Obviously,
But it'll still be shit hot compared to what we have.
Celtic,
Well, that was fake.
Celtic Parks is taking a
Got
jump.
the follow fries.
Celtic Parks is taking a jump in price.
Oh, they're taking a piss.
Aye, they're
Three
taking a-
£3.13 for
What is
a
it all
Scottish
about, by the
pie.
way?
My assumption is it's something to do with
scandalous.
because it's card only. So I'm assuming that like they're getting charged something like 13 pence per fucking transaction or something like that.
Just
and they're
whack it up
making
to
up for
50,
it.
man. You've still do it.
I know. So £3.13 for a Coke the other day. That was nice. But new Scran at Rangers. I heard that the old Scran was rotten.
Absolutely.
It wasn't great, man. It wasn't great.
Aye.
See, to be fair, they done was it a steak and black pudding pie or something that was actually decent, but apart from that, it was pretty tragic.
Okay.
I tend to stay away from it, to be honest. I couldn't
If
really make a judgment.
If I
there.
can,
It's
I'll usually
that
get
bad.
food outside then I'm going, but
Aye.
if I had to, it has to be done.
Right.
It's about time, you know.
Okay.
Looking forward to my halloumi fries.
Excuse me, Paul, can I have some halloumi fries?
The only thing about like the standard jump here, the waiting time's surely.
Oh, it's going to go off its nut,
gonna
man.
be crazy.
You need to go up at 20 minutes to get a pie.
You won't even get pies anymore, mate.
I don't go to pies.
Think so?
100%.
I bet they'll have mad weird names.
It's a football
I know,
ground.
they've got to be
I know, but there'll be like mad certain types of pies and weird names.
They'll still
and
have a
all
steak
this.
pie, 100%.
But
It'll be edible.
That'll be edible. Right, okay.
Red hot and then say...
Push cold in the middle. Is this the start of consistent podcasts again, says Aidan?
Let's hope so.
Let's hope so.
Chances.
We'll see. No, we hope so. We hope so. Even if we're linking up with David back in fucking.
I literally can't walk
Cooper.
past
The
6 o'clock now,
Hebrides,
so
man.
if it's later on, I
there
can do
you go,
anything.
there, Jack. There, he's there. What are you saying?
I was saying David stays now at Hebrides, but
He's a Piccolo player. Who's the best transfer window out of all the teams? Christ, I feel like that's a big analysis we should have maybe done. Who has had the best transfer
So
window?
far, I'd say use, but it's still a long way to go.
aye, we don't. We know.
We know what
getting
you,
with the
aye.
two main
It's hard.
players
It's
you've
hard.
signed.
It's hard to say us when we know what you have got.
Aye,
Tom Lawrence kicking in, having an absolute blinder of a season, and then we look like we've had the better transfer
And the
window.
other boys, like, I'm excited.
It's like, you know,
It's subjective
throw it
till
back
you
to that
actually
window
see
that
it.
we had the start of the
I know.
10 row
Exactly.
season. We on
Exactly.
paper that looked fucking
I know.
incredible, and then
Well, January and all look good.
no, I know. I did. I imagine.
So is it, I think you are the obvious answer to know because when you know exactly what you
very,
just
very
said.
good.
Just saying.
Very nicely said. I like that. Okay. Best signing of the summer so far, says Douglas. So individual signing, Kieran.
I mean, I don't want to just go with the pure obvious answer. I try and think outside the box,
If
but
there's an obvious answer, it's an obvious answer.
I mean, I'd say Carter Vickers for us, to be fair, because we needed that defensive
See,
solidity.
in my opinion, I think Jota's a better player, but I think Carter Vickers is more important.
Jota's got the flair in that, like, but Carter Vickers is definitely more important as to what he actually brought to Celtic.
If
Because
you had to pick one, I'd have said you needed Carter Vickers.
everybody was saying that before, and I was like, I wish they were saying that. I just want both.
Exactly.
But
My ears are getting
I'd
full
say Carter Vickers for us personally.
Cool. Okay.
Connor Goldson count?
John Suter.
Connor Goldson sound count?
No, really.
Technically, when his contract ran out, he wasn't a Rangers
he's,
now.
he's not a new signing, mate.
Value for money, it's John Suter, or I'll say Dylan Levitt again.
Aidan McGeady.
A shout, but just saying.
Aidan
For a
McGeady.
non-old firm. side.
I'd probably say that.
He was like young player of the year last year, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Apart
I think he was certainly nominated, but I think he was.
His goal against
That'd be
us.
right, midweek sign looks
that one each game is an absolute
filthy.
peach, man.
That's the thing. It's very hard to judge Rangers signings from a Celtic point of view because obviously you just do your wee bits of research. You hear a guy, you do your
You
research.
see the YouTube highlights.
I don't do that with the Rangers players. So I'm looking at the names of Rangers have signed, and I can only wait and see what happens. Who the fuck is Zach Lovelace?
Is that not
That's
the
the guy
youth
from
striker or
That's the
something?
guy from
Aye.
Millwall. He'll be
The
in
one,
the
the one that I've heard good things about, obviously, because I keep up with the Bundesliga, is Malik Tillman. I've heard good things about him, but I'm hoping it's the same situation as Ahmad. I hope he comes over and he's absolutely shite.
Although Ahmad did come onto a game at the end.
Towards the end, he was a bit better.
I
aye.
See if
felt like
play-
he was unfairly treated.
If they didn't play bad against Celtic, he would have kept it. He would have stayed in the team. I think it's just
well, the Fogger living were dreadful that night, and because he was a young boy, it was like
He got fun
we
out.
need to win every game.
Yeah.
That's where I think Gio went wrong.
And he
And
comes
then
with that reputation as well. doesn't
I
he?
think
He
Ahmad's
got
got
some
a
millions.
lot
He was
of
shit,
potential
man.
still, mate. But I know Bayern were pushing for a buyback clause, weren't they?
Did they get one?
I think they did, aye.
Because he's obviously got it's a loan to buy, but they've got an option to take him back
Aye.
if they want him.
Which goes to show Bayern maybe think in a few years he could be good
Bayern
enough to play for them.
historically, Bayern love to keep their cards in their own hand, but so they will always have that clause. I think.
Yeah, they're a very good run club, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got the Germany top one tonight actually, but fuck Bayern. Who's the first manager loser joke done that? Can you get the pod back every week? Says Archie Kennedy. Any relation? Archie Kennedy.
You sound so offended there.
No, fucking Archie. He said get the pod back every week. We've got Dundee United fan in here. Says thoughts on the draws for the Scottish teams. Kind of touched that. Touched
Gutter
on
for you, mate.
Unlucky Alex. Unlucky. Or Alec. I don't know if it's Alec or Alex. Who is winning League One? Is that we need we need to get David on for a.
I feel like there's so many teams in that league now. That's
Should Dunfermline be winning it?
Probably one of
they
the
should be.
favourites.
Aye.
They should
Aye.
be.
They've got to win it. They can't stick in there for
Buick's not
2
going to
league.
thank me, but I think Falk.
Oh wow! Even
But,
without Griffiths.
The consolation that he takes from that is that usually whatever I say is wrong,
What
so
is
the
he?
pars will probably go on.
Griffiths, I think he's apparently going to.
Didn't
Forfar
pick up his gyro.
was the top.
I seen some of that English non-league side this one.
I
Oh,
seen
no, was it not Paul Hartley was taking him out?
Paul
Aye,
Hartley. That was at Hartlepool. Yep, Hartlepool was the one I seen.
They're in National League, aren't they? Are they League Two?
Yeah, League Two.
What a full
And the final question, I love the. Oh, by the way, the interaction here. So Connor asked who's winning League One, and Shay replied Dunfermline. Connor then replied, "Shut the fuck up, Shay. We all know Queens are winning the league."
That's fine. So then why ask?
And the final question was top scorer, and we've all gave our opinions for top scorer. So that's about it.
I've got a question for you two quickly.
All right.
How far are you getting in the Champions League?
Oh, fucking papped it. No chance we're getting past the groups.
And how happy is about getting Barca again in the groups?
This is the one time I wouldn't mind getting Barca because they're a bit of a
Lewandowski.
nick. Oh, true, actually. Aye. But I still, I don't know. I don't rate what's going on over there.
Barca right now just buying all these players that don't really even fit
They
their
don't
system.
fit the.
They're
I don't.
taking us in Johnston.
I don't think Xavi will do that great a job at Barca. I think he'll be gone in a
Do
couple
you
of
think you
years.
saw into the Europa League?
Depends on the group. Depends on the
Have a
group.
shout.
I think
Genuinely.
we're actually going to get the group of death again. I mean,
I
it
can-
just seems
I
typical
can
for
see us
Celtic in
getting
Champions
Real
League.
Madrid, fucking Liverpool, whoever's the best team pot
I
three.
want to avoid
Are
the
you
English
top
teams,
four,
We're
to be
top
honest.
four.
I want to avoid Liverpool and Man City,
You just
definitely.
want Frankfurt, surely.
See, everybody keeps saying that, but I just think
It's the obvious one in pot one.
But pot one, like, everybody's in pot one for a reason. I think
There's only
everybody-
one team that I definitely want, and it's for one reason only. I want one of the Milan sides. I want AC or Inter so
go
we
to
can go to
San
San
Siro.
Siro before it gets knocked in.
Very good point.
It's getting knocked in next year, so
I feel like
hopefully.
they've been saying that for the past few years, man.
The one thing I'll say about Frankfurt,
Just hurry up and knock it down.
the one thing I'll say about Frankfurt is, and this is why I think you would want them. I think we would dare them at Ibrox, and I think you would dare them at Parkhead.
Well, you'd like to hope so. You'd like to
I
hope
would.
so.
I see, like, in terms of watch it. I've not watched back the final, obviously, but when I seen the final, all I could think about was we would dare them at Ibrox. That's all I kept thinking. So I think if you go, I think if anybody is looking at that, they want Frankfurt.
I think it'll be interesting to sit down and do a podcast when the draw actually gets made,
Oh, yeah,
we can
yeah.
assess Celtic's
It's so hard.
group.
I always say when
That'll
people
not be
do
there.
it,
I will not be discussing that. No, I
Well,
will.
that'll be us for today. We're at a 1:31, so it's been a long preview show. By the way, I never even said this right at the start, but I should have. We recorded this on Monday, the what's the date? 18th of July. Now, fuck knows when I'll have it edited, but it certainly won't be tomorrow, the 19th of July. So it'll be up hopefully by the end of this week, or at the absolute latest, the start of next week to preview your season. But should be out hopefully by the end. But things can change. Don't know what's going to happen. Who knows? Gio Van Bronckhorst might get told he's not tall enough to manage in the division. He's attacking me with a bottle just for the audio. Things can happen. Signings could be made. Rangers could somehow fucking sign Lionel Messi. Who knows? We'll wait and see what happens.
Andrew's diabetes could catch up with him.
Whoa, now come on.
Don't fucking come for you.
So that's us for today's show. If you've enjoyed, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. It's been a pleasure, lads. I'd go to Noise to say goodbye, but that'll take an hour in itself.
Aye.
But like and subscribe if you're on Spotify. Follow the show. Rates 5 stars, and we'll see you all next time.